Yeah, we got a Boy D Reviews coming with the video about episode 8. What the F? I am shocked now. We are YouTubing out of our minds. Tell me, what happened?
Warning, heavy spoilers for Solo Leveling Season 2 Episode 8. Once again, A1 Pictures delivered greatness, but there was a main problem.
That's right. A1 Pictures delivered greatness. But this specific director known as Kano, that's the man, bro. He's the reason that this episode was that goated.
It was way too fast. It felt like the battle was beginning, but then it ended. I was so engrossed in the fight. It felt like it lasted for 20 seconds. It was so good, but it was so short. This episode flew by. I was pretty mad seeing Jinwoo's damn dirty feet walking on the screen. So the episode begins.
You're gonna be mad every time. Whether it be a cliffhanger, like there's nothing Solo Leveling can do to make you happy. You're gonna be mad no matter what. If it was super hype, then it's gonna be too fast. If there's a cliffhanger, then there's a cliffhanger. Nothing will make this guy happy.
With Sung Jin-woo fighting off Isil, the Golden Warrior, and the fight is barely 20 seconds long before Isil decides to surrender. What do you mean you're surrendering? I was expecting a big battle against Jin-woo. But
she's not that combatant though, right? Honestly, if I was her too, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? Like the moment that you took out my guards, I wouldn't even try fighting back. Please take me.
But at the same time, I don't really blame her. Sung Jin-woo is just too much. But mate, when I tell you I was freaking out when I saw her face for the first time, I was freaking out. I thought, what on earth is Jinwoo's little sister doing here?
What? Do they look the same at all? Hair color purple? I don't really see the resemblance. Maybe if she tied her hair up in that ponytail style, maybe I would see something, but the only resemblance is that purple magenta-ish color.
Little sister doing here? But I was wrong. I was expecting a big plot twist involving her, but no, this is a different character, just with the same hairstyle. She is the first character in these dungeons who looks quote-unquote human compared to the Red Orcs and the Ice Elves. Honestly, I was not expecting any of this. I thought Jinwoo was going to have a huge fight with this Golden Warrior, and
yeah, I thought that maybe there would be a crazy fight happening, but she kind of backed down real simple. And again, like, I don't blame her.
Then defeat it and then turn it into one of his Shadow Warrior puppet collections. So all of this was a huge subversion of expectations. I was completely dumbfounded by the direction of where things were going involving the Isil character. Jinwoo decides to
I called that shit out though. I was sweaty. I noticed the feminine movements, the ear, armor, shape, and the opening showing this girl. She was too important. Just felt right.
Trust her after he gives her the death stare. I mean, my gosh. That stare he gave her, he was going to absolutely destroy her. If she
Bro was piercing through our soul. And the balls that she had to backstab us after, that's so funny.
was to betray him. I mean, I don't blame her for following his orders. We then cut to the outside world and oh my gosh, the entire streets are completely ruined by these deadly flying ants. Dude, is this Attack on Titan or something with the way these ants are hunting down these humans? Really creepy and really eerie.
Attack on Ants. And these are just regular foot soldiers, right? Like, there's no way these flying ants are like the ultimate ants. There's gotta be like a hierarchy, right? Like, what if these are the equivalent of like, you know, regular soldier shadows that Jinwoo have in his army, rather than like a tank or like an iron or an Igris? I wanna see that kind of ants.
Ooh, we cut back into the dungeon and Isil reveals that she is the eldest daughter of the Radiru family. I did not expect her to be some sort of noble. I thought she was an ordinary soldier just following commands. Mate, every time this girl opens her mouth, I am just completely left stunned and speechless because she's a royalty? What? Sung Jinwoo questions her on whether or not the demons in this dungeon have a voice inside their heads to try and kill all the humans. And once again, she reveals another bombshell that no, she has a different order to protect.
That's the craziest thing. So it's not always about kill humans. But they're programmed. They're still programmed. But this time it's to defend this domain. Baraka was told to hunt down humans. I wonder what Tusk was told. We never really got any confirmation around that. Who's telling them? Whoever is the developers? Are there multiple developers rather than one single one? Like, I thought that like Shadow Monarch was a title again that was passed down to Jinwoo. because of what Tusk was saying about like, if you're the Shadow Monarch, then why are we here? And blah blah blah. Bzz, bzz, and then abruption happened. The more I think about it, it's just like, are the monarchs themselves the developers, and are there multiple developers on board that's just like competing against each other? Because the system popped up and it said, hey, hunt down the demon monarch Baran and collect his soul. So if we assume again that the Shadow Monarch isn't really Sung Jin Woo, but it's like a title that he's just kind of like holding on to, we take a step outside of that and try to think of like who's making the games. The monarchs?
At the place that they live in. I don't know why, but when she said this and the camera pans back into this wide shot of this completely destroyed place, there was something so poetically ironic about that. She's protecting the place she lives in, yet the entire place looks completely...
What are we protecting, bro? True. Everything's just down in shitters.
Completely destroyed. The cloud is completely black. It's like
the cloud art background animation, the art is pretty cool though. I like how it's like concentric circles going out and out and out.
Like she's in the underworld. Very cinematic shot indeed. Well done, A1 Pictures. Lee Sedol then reveals that they were given that order when they first got here. Again, I was completely stunned. I thought these guys were always there to begin with.
Same, I thought. Well, then again, it's just like... But there's different, because this is like an instance dungeon rather than an actual dungeon. But it's just like someone moved them all here and they don't even know why. They were like preparing for like a war back in the demon realm. A being that was so strong that they need to unite everybody together, and then boom, there's someone here, and now protect this domain, and nobody questions it. I guess they're programmed not to question it.
She reveals that they were in the demon realm before, but one day they woke up in that dungeon. Dude, as soon as Sung Jin Woo tells her what were they doing in the demon realm before they came here, it's like a jump scare. Her eye starts to glitch. It's this extreme close-up shot of her pupils. Mate, I
that art style looked great.
Jumped when this scene just cut to her pupils. It freaked me out, dude. But now Isil is no longer herself. It's almost like a completely different person has taken over. It was incredibly spooky. It sent shivers down my spine. She reveals that when they were back in the demon realm, they were preparing for war against an enemy so strong that they had to unite all of demonkind. I don't want to judge.
Against who though? They were back in the demon realm. Someone's making an attack on the demon realm, but I don't have like other factions or groups that we know of. But if we somehow, again, what's the leading theory who the endgame boss is? Based on what Dad said to Dongsu about how like your hunters will be consumed and used against you, it sounds like Sung Jin Woo, or rather the Shadow Monarch, this necromancy power that aligns exactly what Dad was saying, maybe the final boss. Like Jin Woo himself is the final boss? The Shadow Monarch is the final boss? Is the Shadow Monarch basically baiting Jin Woo into becoming so strong so that later on the Shadow Monarch can just like turn up and, take over Jin Woo's body and be the final boss? Is the Shadow Monarch the enemy that the demons were banding against to fight? Who the fuck is the Demon Monarch Baran then? I don't know.
Judge the demons, but I can already more or less tell that not all the demons can get along with one another. So to actually unite everyone to face off this great threat, honestly, what can make these guys so spooked and prepare them for war against this mysterious enemy? But she can no longer reveal any of this. To me, this feels like she is part of some sort of system similar to Jin Woo. The whole glitchiness. Mate, I'm so happy we're getting some new information. I mean, this episode is full of plot revelations and still more questions than answers.
It's just like, feels like the most troll thing was how the system was like, oh, a lot of information has exceeded, like there's like a threshold on how much plot we're allowed to receive, and they just cut that shit off. So until we get to actually talk to other monarch, it would be so cool if we could talk to a Baran, but we just kind of fought. Like I wanted to really talk to a monarch and really talk about like what are we, but not gonna have that just yet.
As we cut to a meeting with the Hunter Association, seeing what the
that ant looks thick.
Red ants were doing, the destructions they caused, I can see why they made that one shot with the ant so sinister, as this one ant was able to kill hundreds and hundreds of civilians and hundreds of hunters. Dude, if one ant can do all this damage, what on earth?
I mean, to be fair, it's a B rank. Like if you look, there's not really an A rank present. One B rank done, one C rank, 4 E ranks. That's not that impressive. And the rest of the island are just like innocent civilians who can't fight for shit. So yeah, it did take down an island, but it wasn't really like, you know, it's not really strong. But still, a single ant did that. So just think about like a horde of those ants, man. And think about how we can add them to our army collection. I can't wait. Can't wait for us to start collecting, you know, ants in our army.
Can an army of them do? Mate, this is not the Bugs Life sequel I signed up for, but the Hunter Association leader decides to begin the 4th raid operation on Jeju Island. I had no idea that they raided Jeju Island 4 times. I only thought they raided it once.
Yeah, that's a fair assumption. We only saw like a couple times, right? I mean, we only saw like little flashback here and there in season 1, but damn, 4. This is the 4th raid. 3 raids have already failed.
Sung Jin-woo meeting Lee Seol's father. I was honestly quite surprised.
And that's just a raid failing. There's also like, that's probably not even counting like the events that led up into the dungeon break, right? Like imagine being part of that party that went in the dungeon before the dungeon break happened and they all just got fucked up. And then dungeon break happened. And then the raid onto the Jeju Island started happening and 3 failed attempts.
Surprised that this king was intimidated by Sung Jin-woo. I thought he would just completely brush him off, but seeing this really
the dad was pretty El Aura, man. He was really. I mean, El Aura, but he assessed Jinwoo's powers really well. He immediately saw like this guy was not to be fucked with.
Just completely brush him off. But seeing this really horrifying shot of Sung Jin-woo shows us how much power he's got. Mate, I'm getting quite scared of Jin-woo these days. I know this dude is quite paranoid because the Baran monster has taken over his entire land, freaking him out. So even though he's fearful of Sung Jin-woo, I don't think this dude has a choice. What does he have left to lose?
His daughter. I mean, we basically wiped out all the demon nobilities in the upper floors, got rid of his competition, and, you know, he just gets a free ride up. All we wanted was permission upwards, and, you know, he's like, all right, and now we get to take care of his competition, and now he can rule the instance dungeon land, I guess. Have fun here. I don't know what you guys are really going to do here.
I don't know how to feel about the line that Jin-woo said in his mind regarding Lee Seol, saying that he likes working with her because she's got a bit of a screw loose like
Jinho. Does Jinho have a screw loose? He's pretty normal. He likes to show up in fancy armor here and there. Does Jinho feel like an eccentric person? Not really, to be honest. He seems pretty standard.
Jinho. On one hand, he seems like a jerk in this moment because he seems to be using her, but on the other,
he's a way bigger asshole though in the the source material. I think screw loose might not be the best interpretation of what he was trying to say.
On the other hand, I think he likes humble people. He's seen his fair share of jerks in his past. Lee Seol and Jinho being very humble people puts a smile on Jinwoo's face.
They're
honestly,
kind.
She does sort of remind me of Jinho, how her father is very overprotective of her because he doesn't seem to see the strength inside her. A bit like Jinho and how his father sees him as a weakling. But
he doesn't though. We had an entire episode that had father being proud that Jinho was finally stepping up and doing his own thing, and he respected the resolve, and Jinho left the bird's nest. I feel like that's wrong.
But I do love her determination and wanted to help out Jinwoo. I do like how the one human-looking demon in these dungeons is the first one to more or less aid Jinwoo, helping him out in a way. I wonder if in the demon realm, the more you look like a demon, the more evil you are, or
Nah. I think there's no rule. I think it's as simple as we need a waifu. We need a female demon that appeals. You gonna make a Baran looking character? No. You're gonna have more of a humanoid look. So that's it in my opinion.
Or is that just way too judgmental of me? Guildmaster Troy and Chai Hai-in, the lovely dancer, have a discussion talking about the Jeju Island operation, how every S rank in the country needs to take part, including Sung Jin-woo. I don't know why, but when Guildmaster Troy was so determined and wanted to kill all the ants, it almost feels like he has lost someone to these flying ants.
He did. I mean, in season 1, you got to see his trauma PTSD scene, which was one of the This craziest cracked animation scenes in season 1.
The way he was looking. But we finally get to the part of the episode that has been incredibly hyped up all week long. Jinwoo confronts the demon monarch Baron. Dude rides in on a dragon. Dude's so stylish and cool. Such a show off. Even though he is a bit of a villain, terrorizing Lee Sil's family and her kingdom, the dude has...
Is he really terrorizing them? I don't really know the politics of here. I don't know. I thought that they're just kind of just existing, and it's just like, you know, might makes right, and he just kind of exists in the top floors because he's strong and cool.
Aura. Mate, with a swish of his sword, he activates an entire army in a matter of seconds. Mate, Baron was freaking me out in this moment. Some of the action sequences looked absolutely fantastic. Baron's powers are so intense that his insane aura has Lee Sil questioning whether or not she should follow Jinwoo or just follow the Baron. I got worried in this moment. For a second, I thought she was going to stab Jinwoo in the back. I mean, she almost did that in the beginning of the episode.
If she did that again here, bro, oh my god, unforgivable.
But fortunately, this girl is a ride or die. Mate, that lightning beam attack by the Baron, eliminating Jinwoo's Shadow Warriors, was honestly terrifying, just wiping them all out like nothing. But man, the scene of him using stealth, it was...
Man, that lightning scene was really fucking cool. I mean, Tusk using the flame attack AoE clear was really cool too, but damn, the lightning strikes did go crazy.
And the scene of him using stealth, it was so cool. But that combo attack by Igris and Tusk, wow dude, that was so cool. That was so cool. And thanks to their help, Jinwoo
that was so cool. He just had to say it twice.
Was able to take out the dragon, and just like Obi-Wan Kenobi, he has the high ground. Later on in the episode, we meet Goto, the guild master.
One thing about the episode that felt a little off was how we kept shifting scenes. Like, we get a hype sequence happening for a bit, then boom, back to meetings. Fight sequence happening, and then boom, back to meetings, right? There's like if I'm gonna nitpick about the episode, it's that they didn't, like, you know, focus on the entire fight the entirety through the episode, but had these transitions that felt a bit jarring. But the transitions itself, though, led into really cool things happening of like, hey, Japan's getting involved in Jeju, you know, raid setup stuff, so which is really cool expositions to have.
After Drawn Sword Guild in Japan, this...
Also, the translation is ridiculous. Because, you know, they're speaking Japanese, but we're in Korea. So we're supposed to assume that the people speaking Japanese in Korea are speaking Korean, but they're still speaking Japanese. And then you got the translator. and basically at the end, the dude just started talking because the show's like, all right, you guys get the point. We don't need to have a back and forth to have the translator talking. So we're just going to have, you know, the Japanese dude just start talking naturally as if, you know, we just understand each other.
The scene was kind of awkward because the voice actors are speaking Japanese, but the characters are Korean, and this guildmaster is Japanese, speaking Japanese. But it was so cool getting a new update regarding the flying ants. They grow incredibly fast, but only live for about a year. Even though that's all good news, how powerful is the Ant Queen if one of her subordinates can kill all those people? Anyway,
I feel like it's not the Ant Queen that we should worry about, but rather her strongest warrior. Isn't that how that happens in like matriarchy? In these kind of, you know, places where the queen is not the strongest. She's simply kind of like she exists as like the monarch, no pun intended, but continues to give birth to, you know, stronger and stronger beings. And I'm sure there's like elite sons that the queen has that most likely is going to be the strongest, that's going to be guarding the queen, right?
People. Anyway, we cut back to this amazingly animated fight. The colors, the animation, the arts, the contrast. It's all stunning, 10 out of 10. But while I love the animation, what I loved about this fight is that Jinwoo was struggling. In the past, especially in season 2, Jinwoo has always had the upper hand, never struggling, but for the first time since he fought Igris, the dude is struggling. And
yeah, it was cool to see Baron. The fight felt very similar to Igris, and the moment that I realized that was how the fight ended, because the fight against Igris was pretty one-sided. Igris is honestly sandbagging, you know, just smurfing, fucking around, playing with his food. He even dropped his weapon because Jinwoo, you know, was like hand to hand, so Igris is like, bet. But near the end of the fight, there's like basically Jin was like losing, has one breakthrough moment and just dominates that one scene and then wins. Baron fight also was similar in the end, where it's Not so one-sided. We're keeping up pretty well. But then suddenly he gets mounted on the head and it's like, uh-oh. Ezreal shows up though, gives us that one opening, and then we just take that to the bank. This is probably the most that Jinwoo has struggled in Season 2 so far. The Baraka fight though, what about that? I mean, Baraka was basically 3v1ing at a point, but Baron was really cool. Baron was really sick. Unfortunate that he just one and done deal.
Honestly, I was incredibly shocked to see Jinwoo struggling the way he was at first, as we are so used to him being a Chad. It's great to see this because it shows us how human some.
Can you fucking stop with the snarky comments in chat? Do you really have to fucking respond to every single thing, nitpicking everything in the most annoying fucking way? When I say 3v1 with Baraka, what do you think I'm talking about? Are you really gonna count the fucking random soldiers, bro? Of course we're talking about Iron and Igris and Jinwoo. Why do you have to be like this?
Jinwoo is. It honestly would have been boring seeing Jinwoo fighting without breaking a sweat every episode, so it's a nice change of pace. And honestly, this fight means more to him than anything else because once he wins, he gets the elixir of life.
Mama potion.
Mate, as soon as it started to rain, I was like, oh, what?
The rain was anime only, bro. Webtoon didn't have the rain. Kano probably decided to do it this way, right? I don't know, I'm just assuming that he's the one that decided to, you know, do it stylishly. But the rain, I think, really added so much to the fight. Symbolically, how at the end of the fight, a laser pierces through and clears up the heavens, and then basically Sun is last, you know, Sun shows up to kind of like, you know, have Jinwoo basically like, look at this, right? The laser boom and the clouds get covered up and it clears up, and then you get to see Jinwoo just like after the fight. It's so cool. But the entire fight, the rain, the added rain droplets just added so much to the fight. It was cinematic, to say the least. Now, where were we?
That's the contrast. It's all stunning, 10 out of 10. But while I love the animation, what I loved about this fight is that Jinwoo was struggling. In the past, especially in Season 2, Jinwoo has always had the upper hand, never struggling, but for the first time since he fought Igris, the dude is struggling. And honestly, I was incredibly shocked to see Jinwoo struggling the way he was at first, as we are so used to him being a Chad. It's great to see this because it shows us how human Sung Jinwoo is. It honestly...
If he continues to roll everything, and it's becoming a bit like this, because like you can't just like Season 1 was him struggling a lot, earning every fight, barely making it through. Season 2 has a bit of a run it down mid situation, but it's the payoff. This is like, all right, he's strong now, and now it's just power fantasy, and because he's earned the strength, I don't mind him rolling it down mid as he goes around basically just defeating everything and collecting new Pokemon. Some people are pissed off about it. To me, it's just like, it's earned, therefore I'm down to glaze. But the power scaling, that's the thing about shows like this, right? For how much longer can you keep this under wrap? There can only be so much hype that can be formed as the underdog. You can't be an underdog forever. Now he's no longer E rank, he's assessed as S rank. He's nationally known, and he's probably going to go global at the end of Jeju Raid Arc 2. So like, it's going to be very interesting how they delicately handle the power scaling as we enter the late game of solo leveling and see if people are going to have those kind of complaints.
It would have been boring seeing Jinwoo fighting without breaking a sweat every episode, so it's a nice change of pace. And honestly, this fight means more to him than anything else because once he wins, he gets the elixir of life. Mate, as soon as it started to rain, I was like, oh, what can I say? The fight blew my mind.
I love the rain here. Ezreal looked stunning in the rain as well, dude. I mean, the rain animation, it's got to be looped at a certain point, right? There's probably like a couple frames of distinct rain, you know, animation happening that they're just like cycling over and over again. So, I mean, it's not like every scene, every frame has unique hand-drawn rain bullets coming down, right? That'd be crazy.
What can I say? The fight blew my mind. Honestly, it's more or less fried my mind because of how so much was happening. I think this might have some of the best art in the entire series.
Yeah, like you have to go through this ship like literally frame by frame or you can't fully appreciate what happened because things just happen so fucking fast. So many things are happening at such a insane level and quality that like, bro, I don't even think that I truly can appreciate the fight still.
There were some shots that looked like it belongs in the cinema, but to me it was all
this scene right here too, right? Oh my god, Ezreal in the rain genuinely looks stunning.
Mate, it was all thanks to Issei that Sung Jinwoo was able to launch his final attack. That final blow he gave to the Baron
Clutch.
was just unreal. I love
the impact frames, bro. Like there's a sequence of events that happens. I think like it's basically like there's like some sort of smearing starts happening as Ezreal makes an opportunity for us, and from there on the uppercut stuff. Oh my god, that last scene went crazy.
That final blow he gave to the Baron was just unreal. I loved the black and white impact frames, and I liked how serious this fight was. Jinwoo was beaten down like a dirty dog throughout this entire fight, but he came back on top and I was cheering for the dude. That final explosion in the sky, clearing out all the dark clouds, was just
it's just cinematic, man, right? The dark is gone, and then the sun comes out. Happy times, we're celebrating. And again, the webtoon didn't have this. This is an anime original direction, which I think was genius.
Unbelievably fantastic. Overall, this episode was a 10 out of 10 in...
And he continues to fuck up Ezreal's family name. It's still Radisu. Yep, it's still right. It's Radiru actually.
Art and animation. But I won't lie, there were some moments in the episode that felt a little bit too quick. It honestly felt like there were some scenes that were missing. Or is that my imagination?
They did cram in a lot of chapters into this specific episode, right? So regarding all the exposition set up for the Jeju stuff, maybe there was a lot of skip stuff. But the fight stuff I felt was pretty comprehensive.
Cutscenes from the manhwa, it wasn't a bad thing. It's just a small nitpick that I had, despite it feeling too quick. I liked how we developed the Ant storyline, and honestly, no cliffhanger for once.
No cliffhanger.
Like this arc came to an end, and now the Jeju Island arc.
Oh, she did blush once here. The blush wasn't as prominent, I guess, in the webtoon.
Jeju Island arc seemed to be about to begin. But tell me in the comments down below.
How many episodes are we getting? 12 to 13? 12 episodes? This is episode 8. So 13, okay, good. So we have 5 episodes then. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We got 5 thick episodes to dedicate all into Jeju arc, hopefully. Maybe the last episode or, the next episode will be more like, prologue or epilogue, stuff like that. But things are looking fucking crazy. And yes, this episode, I was talking about how this episode wouldn't make me as hype as episode 6 because the story elements surrounding episode 6, what it meant to, basically save a failing party of elites, to flex on them, and to have everyone witness it. It just meant way more to me in the story. Obviously, getting ingredients from Mom's elixir is important as well. But I thought that maybe this episode, even if the production value was objectively better than episode 6, that this episode wouldn't be as hype to me. But honestly, the fight scene went so fucking crazy that like all that shit was forgotten. I was fucking popping off. I was honestly just thinking about this episode too. After I watched it a couple more times, I was like, man, this shit went insane. And the best part, the real SSS rank hunter hasn't shown up yet. The man known as Takeuchi. He's too busy fucking around with the villainous Oji-san anime. I mean, no disrespect to Kano. Like, what he did for this episode was amazing, but could it be said that Takeuchi is objectively better? Still more of a veteran and has, more potentials to make more peak? I don't know. At this point, we're basically comparing like a 9.6 out of 10 versus like a 9.7 out of 10, right? It's honestly so insignificant. I don't think it matters. So Kano the GOAT, like, I appreciate you for this episode. But like, man, the Jeju stuff coming out, it's gonna be even crazier. And then people are going to be saying, y'all have no clue. Y'all aren't ready for Jeju arc. Yeah, it's coming. Please go check out a Boydu Reviews channel. Here's the link to the video. Go give it a like if you did. Sub to his channel if you want. And I'll see you next time.